Good evening. How you doing? I'm Lee Love, and this is Photo Mentor TV. And we got a great show tonight. I think you guys are going to really enjoy it. This is the first Tuesday of the month, so we do photo reviews tonight, which is a lot of fun. And I've gotten a lot of really good submissions tonight. Some pretty impressive work. You guys are really really kind of blown me away with some of this stuff. I got to tell you. And I appreciate it. I really do appreciate you guys sending in your work, letting me see what you guys are doing, and give me a chance to comment on it. So thank you very much. Again, if this is your first time here, this is Photo Mentor TV, and we are part of Photo Mentor Academy, where we educate, encourage, and mentor you to become more creative as a photographer. So if you want more information on Photo Mentor and what we're doing, I encourage you to check out photomentoracademy.com. A lot of cool stuff going on there. And you can join our Facebook group, which we're going to talk about here in a minute, some things that we're doing as well. So anyway, let's see. Couple quick announcements, and then we'll get started. One of them is for those of you that are members of the photomentor.tv Facebook group. We're going to be doing a challenge, a new challenge. If you guys remember, we were doing the non-selfie selfie, and you guys did a great job on that as well. Just really, really impressive. I appreciate that. But this time we're going to do one called Leading Lines, and I'll be talking more about that in the group and explaining it to you, and how that works and, what a leading line is. But leading lines is the challenge, and here's what I'll put a post in there maybe tonight. Here's what you're going to need to do, though. When you post your photo, in that reply to that post about the challenge, just put your photo in there and put a hashtag leading lines, if you don't mind. May be good to do a hashtag photo mentor, and then hashtag leading lines, and that way I can pull those out and sort them and just show those off to everybody in the group, and then also here on the show. So I appreciate you doing that. If you signed up for our newsletter, then that was also leading lines were covered in the May 12th issue that Sue Ann published. That's issue number 7. And again, if you're interested in subscribing to the newsletter, what you need to do is go to photomentoracademy.com/newsletter, and that'll let you sign up for it. And you can get the newsletter that way. Great work she's doing there. Very inspiring, covering a lot of great topics. And so anyway, photomentoracademy.com/newsletter if you want to get on the free newsletter list. Let's see, what else? Oh, got some very cool stuff you guys are going to love. In fact, let's see if I can bring this up real quick. I wasn't planning on doing this, but I think I probably could. Well, it's all right. I won't do it now. So I did an interview with my friend Adam Friedman. And I think you guys are going to really enjoy this. It's going to hopefully I'll have it finished edited next week, and it's going to be a multi-part interview, of course, for sure, because we went like 2.5 hours on this thing, and I know you don't want to sit through all of that, but just really great stuff. So if you've watched the interview with Rick Garrity, which I encourage you to do, excellent work that Rick's done. Adam is the complete opposite. He's 180 degrees from Rick. So if you want to see a different aspect of photography, I encourage you to check that out. So Adam is a commercial, lifestyle, swimwear, and some fashion photographer. So he lives in Miami, and he does swimwear stuff, and his stuff is just amazing. Yeah, I think you'll be very, very impressed with the work he's doing there. So it's a great interview we're going to have with Adam Friedman, hopefully next week. So anyway, just to give you an idea on that. Okay, so I have a question for you. I would appreciate it if you guys would help me out. And I need you to just put it in the comments, if you will, if you're on YouTube or if you're in Facebook, you can put it, and you're in the photomentor.tv group. I'm curious about a term that Sue Anna and I have been talking about. So I've been referring to a lot of people as, yes, a lot of people have been, I refer to like new photographers. Okay, you're a new photographer. But what I'm discovered is that new is not, has nothing to do with the time that you've been a photographer. It's really more about experience. So how would you guys define yourself, first of all, and then how would you define a new photographer? Because I think just about we've got, I think, 13 submissions tonight for the photo reviews, and I'm pretty sure everybody but one is 5 years plus, and I think one person is 3 or 4 years. So it's obviously, I don't think you consider yourself a new photographer. Maybe you are. Anyway, what term would you use to describe your photography? That's really what I want to know. I'd love to hear what you have to say. So leave it in the comments or something like that. Let me know. Let's see. I think that's it. Okay. So, and yeah, if you want to check out Adam's work, by the way, I don't think I have. This is his name. His URL is, if you just want to check out some of his work ahead of time, is aefriedman.com. So aefriedman.com. Great work that Adam done. Adam and I have known each other for a long time, and I think you'll enjoy the interview. We had a good time, he and I, and a lot of things we were talking about were in sync. So anyway. Okay, let's, I think that's about it as far as that's concerned. I think we can probably get started on some of this other thing. First thing I want to start with is a quote. Of course, I like to come up with a quote for you guys every week that kind of relates to the topic of the show. And that is that, so this is by a guy named Steven Pinker. Now, it's interesting. He's not a photographer. He's, I believe, a psychologist. And and his comment is, the art of photography is all about directing the attention of the viewer. Sound familiar? Has anybody else you've heard mention that, like me? So, it's definitely, I mean, that's what it's all about, is where do you want the person to look, and what's the most important aspect of the frame, and where you want what are you trying to say with your images? So, anyway. All right, let's see here. Let's bring some of this stuff up. Okay, so the first image we have tonight is going to be, let's see, who's the first one was submitted by HJ, and they didn't give me any information on the image as far as why they took it or anything like that. By the way, I really appreciate you when you guys put that information in on what motivated you to take a certain image, because then that kind of gives me an idea of, just kind of what we were trying to accomplish, and, just kind of gives me some insight as to what's going on there. Let me see here. Okay. Let's see. So let's try. So I call this boy on a wooden plank. I don't know what the person didn't give me any information, but I think it's a very good image. There's some things I'd comment on. I think it's, and some of the things I don't normally talk about on some of these things, but I will on this one. I think the toning or the color of the image is really kind of really well done. And I think because it sets the mood of the image. He looks very, I don't know, like he's thinking about something, he's contemplating something. There's some emotion there, even though it's not, most of the time we think of emotion as really over the top, but it's not in this particular case. And I think it's a very good image. It's a little unusual. Normally I would suspect, or I would suggest you get down on their eye level, but because they're not looking at the camera, which is in this case good, because okay, there's two. When you normally when a person looks into the camera, you're connecting with that person, but when they're looking off camera, then the mood or the emotion or the idea you get is that you're kind of observing that person, and I think that works absolutely for this image right here. It's interesting. I don't know. It's not sure what else to comment on it really. I think it's well done. It's not your usual picture, but I think it's still very, very good. And so congratulations on this one, HJ. HJ's been shooting about 5+ years. Again, one of these people that I mentioned. And I think it's a great image. There's definitely some connection with the young man. I think maybe it's a son or daughter, kind of, or it's his son or something like that. So anyway, good image. And good to see everybody here tonight, by the way. Brian, Tara, Heidi, Kenda. Oh, you made it, Kenda. Great. Okay, so all right, so that's the first one image tonight. The second image, this image is really, now you're going to think, okay, great, it's an image. What's the big deal? It's really an impressive image, and the reason is because I know this. I've seen this person's work, and this is a huge growth in the kind of work that they do. Now, the person, was shot by OT. And they say this is new growth on the tip of an evergreen tree in their yard. It was a very cloudy, rainy day, and this kind of brought out the hope of new life and new season. And I absolutely agree with that. I think this is really well done. There's a couple things going on here that make it work. Number one, again, we talk about shapes and things like that. It definitely has some shape to it. And gives you some depth. So so one of the things that I talk about once in a while is the fact that, and there's actually a lot of examples of that tonight. We are trying to represent a three-dimensional world using a two-dimensional medium, right? Photography. So it's kind of difficult. Well, I think this does that because it gives the image depth. There's foreground, there's middle ground, and there's background. And that's done a couple of ways with this image. Number one, it's done with focusing, of course. Number two, it's done with color. And number three, it's done with the subject itself. So the water, of course, the water droplets is the middle ground, and the background is out of focus. But then also the white or the gray sky background gives it even more depth. So, and it's nice, very well exposed. Normally I don't talk about the technical aspects. You guys know that because it's such an easy thing to fix. But it's not overblown. Just a really, really nice image. And OT, I congratulate you on this one because this is definitely a step in the right direction. And I think one of your better images. So good job on that one. Okay. And let's see here. So, by the way, just so you guys know, this is kind of what I use as a guideline when I'm talking about these images. These are the 7 elements of art. And so something I want to mention real quick. I commented on in a discussion group. Of course, I go to become members of these other groups, and I don't know, cause trouble, I guess, more than help. I don't know. Hopefully I help a little bit. You guys have been in these groups before, but and the comment was made that art is subjective, and I disagree with that somewhat. What I think is the interpretation of art is subjective, but art itself and the act of creating art is not totally subjective. And the reason I say that is because of this right here. Okay, these are the these are the verbs, these are the nouns, these are the pronouns, these are the terms that you use to communicate something visually. And I'm going to get into this more and more. It was brought up, someone sent me a message today, we were talking about it. I need to do this, and this is my fault. I really need to dive into these more. I thought I covered them pretty well in a topic I did on a video called "Learning to See Like an Artist," but I think I need to revisit them. So that's my fault. But anyway, so lines have a certain meaning. Shape has a certain meaning. Form has a certain meaning. Space, for example, negative space can mean loneliness. It can mean a lot of different things. Texture, value, color. All the colors, red, blue, green, all have a meaning to the human brain and the way we interpret these, whether you agree with them or not. Now, some of them are based on culture, but they all have a meaning in that we interpret them in a certain way. And so that's why I'm saying we're using these tools to communicate certain things. So that's what I'm referring to when I say art is not necessarily subjective. The interpretation is. So you may be trying to say something using these rules of elements in art, but you may not be able to accomplish that. That's the point I'm trying to make. So anyway, that's what I use when I'm looking at and I'm reviewing your images, is to try and give you some aspect of that. And normally I have some things that come in the bottom, but I don't think that's working tonight for some reason. We'll see. All right, let's see here. So I'll tell you what, let's try this to see if this works for you. Yeah, I still don't understand why my buttons aren't working here tonight. Oh, well. Of course, everything's going crazy tonight. Anyway, so again, OT, great image. I really think you've done a good job on this one. This is another one. By the way, let me remind you guys, please do not submit images with watermarks. This one had a watermark in it, and I had to remove it. I hope you don't mind, but I know you're a member of the group and the Facebook group, and I know that you are working real hard to improve your work, and so I didn't want to reject this. But normally, if it has a watermark on it, I won't do that, or a couple of them that had that, and this one was an easy one to remove, so it wasn't a big deal. But anyway, this is another one that OT submitted, and they thought this frog was hibernating, but then it jumped, and I think it took off really quickly, but it's camouflaged. And anyway, it's a good image. It's kind of interesting. It's I think it's probably a good one for the, again, we'll kind of go back to the, I was showing here, for texture. It definitely communicates texture, which, and that has to also do with the direction of the lighting, by the way. So if you light something very flat, straight on, you're not going to get much texture, but if you light it from the side, you're going to gain more texture. Something to think about when you are, lighting a subject. So anyway, so texture on this one is good. It's an okay picture. I'm not sure what else to really say about it. I think it's kind of interesting that they're so camouflaged you almost can't tell. His eye was closed. I don't think you'd even know it was a frog. So anyway, good one on that one. So now this one here is also submitted by OT. I love this picture. Now, I don't usually talk about what I like and don't like because it's not up to me. It's, again, how well it hits the 7 elements of art. And I think this one nails it. You did an excellent job. This is another example of where I get so excited because I see the improvement that you're making in your work. And I encourage you to keep up with this one. This is one where you saw something, you went to it, and this was an image you made. It wasn't you took. Does that make sense? So if I was going to say it, I'd say this one right here is maybe a picture you took, and it's okay. But this is a picture you made. You saw this, and you created this image out of nothing. And I love this. I just think it's a beautiful, beautiful image. They say that they love strawberries, so they decided to take one leaf and practice with their macro and a water droplet. And they struggled to keep the water in place, basically just different types of photography. So, OT, here's a tip. Don't use water, use glycerin. Or you can mix some of the glycerin a little bit with the water, and it will stick. It will work much better. So water doesn't work very well. When you see sweat and things like that on people, a lot of times it's glycerin or there's some other mechanism, some other material they'll use. But typically, because some people's skin is allergic to glycerin, but you can go to a drugstore and get a bottle of glycerin, and that will work much better for you. So try that next time. But just, I love that the fact that you had this concept, you started from scratch. The lighting is excellent on it. The texture is excellent. The color's excellent. The composition is very, very good as well. So nice job on this one, OT. Please, please keep this up. And I'm just so excited to see the improvement that you're making in your work. So great job. Keep them coming. And again, I like to try and keep them to 3 images, but because you are again a member of the group, I give you a little leeway here. And so this is the 4th image. This one is not quite as strong as the other ones, but it's still really good. I mean, it's such a magnificent bird. It's just fantastic. So it's still pretty good. I don't know. I think it's nice the way it's framed a little bit to the right, so it looks like he's looking into the frame, which is good. It's okay. It's hard to get really impressive photos of birds unless they're in flight or they're fishing or something like that, as many of you know. So, but anyway, good job. And but again, it's hard when you show me something like the strawberry leaf, and then it doesn't hold a leaf. It doesn't hold a candle, I guess would be the right word. So anyway, sorry about that. Okay. All right. So nice job on that. Okay, here's another one. This is by PT, and I love this because PT said they had an opportunity to show their city's beauty from the waterfront, and they were apologizing because they shot it with a phone. Don't ever apologize for using a phone. It's a camera, right? Whatever camera you have is the best one you have with me. Now, here's some things that work really well on this image, and I'll bring it up. First of all, the color works. The blue is really, really nice against that sky and the white, so it really does a pretty good job. It's a shame it's not a little warmer on the concrete. That would make it even more impressive, but that's okay. It's not a big deal. Leading lines, again, because you've got that line in the upper corner and you've got it exactly where it needs to be, by the way, you want to try and move up and down and position that image so that the line that you're following is coming right out of that corner. Both the top one and the bottom are doing that. Okay, you don't want it below, you don't want it above. You kind of want it right in that corner because that's where the eye goes to. Leading lines brings that thing right in there. It's very easy to see what's going on. And again, nice job on this one, even with the phone. So it's not about the phone or the camera, but you've got some good composition here, and I encourage you to keep up with that. So this one here is a kind of an interesting. This is also submitted by PT, and it was they're exploring an old vacation place in the Smoky Mountains. And this is I kind of enjoyed the story, by the way. It was once a logging camp in the 1840s, and members of the community lost their land and cabins in National Forest, which is something we hear a lot about, in 1934. But the leases didn't expire till 1992, so it was demolished in 2018. Anyway, so this is just the interesting thing about it is it's really in ruins. And it was cold and rainy, and I agree, it did kind of make for an interesting mood to the thing and show the demolished home. It needs something else, though. It needs some perspective, something that so example, maybe get something in the foreground. Maybe if you were to move around to the right, I'd love to have seen it shot through those 2 trees, maybe frame it with the trees, which would make it look more lonely. That's what you're trying, the emotion you're trying to convey, in my opinion, and you're trying to tell the story. So look for things that are going to look like it's lonely. So, for example, by getting down lower, also may do that. put something in the foreground that's by itself that looks maybe a piece, if there was a piece of rubble or something there that you could move without, being a problem. You don't want to do that too much on kind of these kind of places, but something like that. Maybe got in closer to where those steps were and use the steps put the steps to the right of the image, get closer, and use those steps to draw the eye to the fireplace or something. So I see where you're going, and I think you're on the right track, but try and use some other elements to enhance or to exaggerate the loneliness or the abandonment of the image. But I agree, the overcast and the dreary day and the rain certainly contributed to it. So anyway, that's a couple of comments on that one. Okay. Any comments? Let's see here. I'm going to look here at the chat, see if you guys have anything you want to say, ask me questions. I guess not. Okay. That looks good. Hope you guys are having fun. Again, this is Photo Mentor TV, if you guys weren't aware of that. And just for the heck of it, I am Lee Love. And we do we're doing photo reviews tonight. Do this on the first Tuesday of the month. And by the way, I'd appreciate if you guys would, if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do that. Hit that little subscribe button and the bell icon. As everybody asks you, I know everybody, and the reason we ask you is because, number one, it lets you know when we're going live, and number two, it helps YouTube know that you're interested in this kind of content. That's why everybody asks you to do this, so just FYI. So it lets them know, oh, okay, they're interested in this. All right, so the next one, this is an interesting photo. This was also submitted by HJ, who submitted an earlier image. They did not leave any comments on this, so a lot is left here to interpretation. Obviously, there's a vintage look they're going for, and using the vignetting, the white vignetting around the outside is a common technique, and of course the toning does that, of course, it's an interesting photo. I'm not quite sure if it works or not, though, because it's sort of color, but it's not color, right? So if it was really vintage in this era, I would assume you wouldn't have the red on her suit and that kind of, so there wouldn't be any color to it. So it might be better off on this one, HJ, to go to monochrome, make it black and white first, and then add toning on it and see how that works. And maybe not quite so vivid. Maybe bring it down a little bit desaturate it. Also looks like kind of vintage. If you're going for that, if that's what I assume what you're going for. Again, you didn't really tell me. If I were doing this and I was trying to make a vintage image look vintage, what I call selling a fake, and there's nothing wrong with that, then I would have, again, taken the color out completely and added a toning on top of it. But then I might have, if also, maybe this is, I don't know if you have a skill set to do this, I would have taken some scratches or some material on top of this and layered this on top of it to look like it was more. Because what's interesting is when you look at an older camera, like the one, you can't see them, but the ones I have behind me here, 4x5 and things like that, the lenses were not very good, and they're kind of soft. And so if you really want to create that image, that's something you sort of need to simulate, maybe not on the people, but around it and things like that. So anyway, I'd love to know more. I'd love to see more of your work, HJ. So if you don't mind, when you do it again, please, when you fill out that form, please tell me what you're going for, because that helps a lot. And I appreciate you guys doing that. I love, number one, hearing the stories of what you're thinking and why you're trying to shoot this photo and what you expect to accomplish. It tells me how close you are. Okay. So this next image was submitted by HK. This is an interesting image. And I didn't get it at first, I'll be honest with you, until I read the description. They say that they notice the V shape of the clouds and the roof line below. And they're trying to capture a repeating shape, but it was lost from the front of the building. So they went around to the back, and the photo was taken at a historic park where there's a lot to take in. So this is I see where you're going with this, and it's kind of cool. It's a shame. This is a good example of where the intent is right, and it's a little bit left to interpretation. But I see where you're going with this. In my opinion, the only thing that would have made it sell it a little bit more, and it's hard to do. I don't know if you could have even done this. Is if there's a way to get lower, so that so you were able to lower the cloud a little bit closer to the home, so it kind of fit into that V and was more obvious. But so anyway, the other thing you could have done if you just left it like it is would be, and again, maybe I understand maybe you didn't have the right lens for this, would have been to use more of the foreground, the grasses, and that would draw you into the image again. It might have taken away from what you're trying to accomplish, but that would have been, if I were just going for the home or just trying to show the sky, then I would have gotten lower or trying to put some of those grasses in the foreground, maybe out of focus, and I think that would have framed the image a little better and made it a little more interesting. So now, this one right here, let me tell you about this photo. This photo is stunning, and I'm going to tell you why on a couple of points. This is also submitted by HK, the person that submitted the one before. But this picture is fantastic, and there's so much going on in this picture. Now you're going, why am I so excited about this picture? It's just not that big a deal, right? It's kind of a sunset. No. What's happening here in this image is it really is an example of what I was trying to say before, of depth, where there's multiple layers of things going on. So if you look at the foreground, you have the dark, waves. Then you have the next level where you have the surfers and the lighter color there. Then you have another layer of dark waves, then another layer of light waves, then another layer of dark waves. Then you have the trees in the background, which is, again, a different color. And then above that, of course, we have the lighter color. So it really is a perfect example of creating depth in an image that's a 3D world with a 2D image. So it's just a fantastic picture, and you really should. I know it sounds simplistic, and people are like, "Well, what's the big deal? It's just some surfers," but you obviously saw this, and it engaged you, and you there was something there to it. Maybe you didn't know, maybe you did, but just a fantastic picture. I applaud you. I know who this is. I know the kind of work you do, and this is one that I think is really impressive. So, not just because of the depth it creates, but also because of the way you're seen and what you're trying to accomplish. So anyway, great job on this one. I was really struck when I saw this image. It spoke to me on a couple levels, and especially, especially on the level of from a photographic standpoint, and being able to show some depth in an image, which is really not easy to do. Okay, sorry about that. A little something for my dry throat. Okay, let's see what else we got. Okay, the next one is, let's see here. So this next image, okay. So we're going to have to make a rule here. No cats, okay? And the reason is because Sue Ann and I love cats. I know she has a couple, and I have one right now. We've had many. But I love these guys. They're just, so when you show me a kitty picture, I'm like, oh, so that's not fair. You can't do that. got a perfect M on his forehead, by the way. You see that? That marking's really beautiful cat. So, anyway, just a terrific picture, of a cat. And there's no bad pictures of cats. What can I say? They're just so cute. So anyway, let's see here. Does this thing, did it connect? It didn't. Yeah. Okay. Now maybe connected again. Okay. So I did want to make some suggestions though. So here's my rendition. So here's the picture, and then here's a little bit slightly different version. So the difference that I think needed to be made on this one to kind of improve it a little bit, and it's maybe hard to tell. I can send this to you if it'll help. So the one thing is it's a little bright, and that's not too bad. I mean, that's easy to fix. But the foreground and the background kind of blend together a little bit. So here I've kind of darkened the background some, and also the little guy here with the beautiful M on his forehead there. And that kind of makes him him or her pop and stand out a little bit. But it's still kind of a cute picture. What can I say? And so also I punched up just a little bit of the saturation on the leaves and stuff. You don't really need it so much in the background, but again, in him or her, I think it makes it a little better if you punch up the color, make him enhance a little bit. But what can I say? What a cutie! Great cat picture. And again, what can I say? You're not fair. You're tugging at me here when you start showing cat pictures. So it's kind of unfair advantage. So you're going to get good comments probably most of the time, unless it's just a really, really bad photo, because it's hard to take a bad picture of a cute cat. What can I say? Okay. Now, this one was, bring my notes back up here. This one was submitted by, the previous one was submitted by HH, by the way. And, I thought I had two of them by you. Let me see here. Did I do this right? I thought you submitted, oh, here, maybe this other one is one you submitted. I might have gotten messed up here. I think this one here might also be, I might have them out of order. I think this one was also submitted by HH as well, if I'm not mistaken. If it is, if I'm mistaken, let me know. But this one is, I don't know. I'm not sure what the deal is with this picture, quite honestly. I think I don't know what you're trying to tell me. And there was no information, and it's just kind of like not that interesting, frankly. But I'm going to show you a couple things that maybe you can do to bring it out a little better here. Let's see if I can figure this one. I think is it this one? I think it's this one right here. Nope, that's not it. Hang on. Let me bring up this other image here. Yeah. Okay. So here's something you can do with it. So what you could do, I think it's this one. Yeah. Okay. What you could do with this picture to make it a little more interesting. First of all, again, I don't know what you're trying to show me here. So and this is a good example. Let me let you learn from this. This is not a criticism, but what's the hero in the shot is what I refer to. You'll probably hear me talk about this quite often. When I'm trying to shoot an image or I'm editing an image, I'm looking at it and going, okay, what's the most important thing in the image? Where do I want people to look? What am I trying to tell them? Okay, and that's what you guys should be doing as well. I don't think this image does that. So I'm showing you in an example to think about that. What is the most important thing, and what are you trying to tell me? It may look, okay, look, a sunset can be really pretty. I see tons and tons of sunset. People are like, oh, I love that picture, and they post, on these Facebook groups. It's just a sunset. There's nothing really there to tell. It's just pretty pixels, I guess. So that's not a criticism. Again, I'm just trying to give you an example here of when you're shooting a picture like this, think about, before you push that shutter, what is it I am trying to say? Okay, what is it I want people to take away from this picture? So, what you could do, I mean, one thing that you could do, so all this black up here is kind of interesting. What you could do is you could come in here. Whoops. Of course, I knew I shouldn't have done that. Let's cancel. Let's try it again. Okay. So what you could do with this picture is you could crop it a little bit like this. Okay. Now, it may look a little flat, but that makes it, at least tells me, okay, I know there's something going on. Now there's something I'm supposed to be looking at. Okay, now, if there was something in here or over here, then that maybe make it even more interesting. So let's just do it again. So now if I come over here and I say, okay, maybe right there. Okay. Now, again, maybe there's something there I'm supposed to be looking at. I don't know what it is just yet, but still, at least now I have a point of focus. I'm meaning not focus as in blurry focus, but focus as in where my eye's supposed to go. Now all of a sudden, I have some things going on here. I have these logs, which kind of draw me into the center. I have the stick, also the same thing. The dark is now not so dominant, and the green is beautiful. So now I at least see there's something going on, and now I can say, oh, wow, I'm looking at this algae or this the rock formation or the light. I may not know what it is I'm supposed to interpret from this. Again, as I was talking about earlier about art being subjective, and this part is subjective, but the point is to make it less subjective, you want to tell me what it is I'm supposed to be looking at. Okay? Makes sense? I hope that helps. And because, again, it's not intended to be critical. It's intended to help you. All right. So, all right. So let's see what else we got. So that one, again, was submitted by HH, I'm pretty sure. Okay. Now, this is the one we were looking at before. And this is a pretty interesting picture. It's really well done. I would say that lighting is really good. Looks to me like they were using two lights. One kind of to the right a little bit, camera right, and then one camera left. Kind of a little bit more than camera left because you've got some edge lighting going on there. So it's a really good exposure. Technically, it's a good picture. But it's also kind of hard to do, I might mention, because you've got a lot of values going on here, as we were talking about. Remember, talking about things using the concept of values. Okay, that's the light, dark, etc. But the picture also, I think, could be a little stronger if you were to a little bit of cropping going on here. So let's go back to, let me bring this back up again. Sorry, I didn't have it. Should have kept it up on the screen. Let me show you what I think would be very helpful for you on this and actually make this a little bit stronger image. Sorry, let me open this up here. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so I think what might make it a little stronger for you is to bring this down a little bit, okay? Because she's such an attractive young lady, and now I don't know if you guys know this or not, but you generally do not want to crop. I'll show you where you're not supposed to crop. You don't want to crop at the joint like this, okay? And I'll tell you why. Because then it kind of, you're not quite sure if it's purposeful or missing a limb, something like that. So you don't want to do that. So what you want to do is you want to crop midpoint in her arm so that you know that's on purpose. And again, same thing here. Let's bring this down a little bit. And again, this is just me. I mean, you guys may have a different opinion, and that's cool. No problem. But I think when you go something like this, you could even go a little lower with your crop maybe. I think it makes it a much more impressive image, much more, I mean, just really stands out. She's a gorgeous woman. Really nice smile, great skin. So, you know, just a really cool picture, really interesting background with the pink background and the word behavior on her shirt really work together. So this is an excellent picture. It just needs to, I think, a little bit of cropping on it to make it a little more intense. So you could have done the same thing in camera, by the way, and I encourage you to shoot wide, then shoot tight. Um, but it's a terrific picture, very well lit. Now I'll show you guys something here just in case you want to know. So if you, let's see if I can come in here. I think I can. Oh, wrong keys. Yeah. So I'm going to show you something here. So you look at the eyes, you can see there was look like maybe an umbrella. If this is a trick you can use to diagnose or to kind of break down lighting when you're looking at a picture. So the first thing you want to look at is shadows. Okay. So if you look at the shadows, that's going to tell you a lot about a picture. So right here, you can see these shadows here. You can see a little bit of shadow on her neck over here. But notice how soft they are. It's not a hard shadow. It's a nice graduated. So that indicates it's a large light source. Okay. If it was just a spot or something like that without a modifier on it, then it would not be this soft. Then the other thing is, I mentioned before, I said it looks like it's two lights. Well, look over here. It's got another light coming over here on the side, which looks like, to me at least, the way it was lit. And I don't think this was a composite. I'm pretty sure this is just the way it is out of the camera. But anyway, so just a trick, something to look at. And when you're trying to diagnose or trying to break down a photo, again, you can kind of look at the shadows here again as well to kind of tell. Anyway, just something to think about when you're trying to analyze a photo and understand how it was shot. I love that. How would I shoot that? That's the first thing you want to do. Shadows, then look at the lighting on the specular highlight. That's another thing is if it was a really a small light source, she'd have more of a shine on her head, even though there could be makeup, and that's a good indication that it's a hard light. So, okay, all right. So this next one is, you know, I got to tell you guys something. This is getting harder and harder to do. You know, it's pretty hard to do anonymous lighting or anonymous reviews when you see a picture and everybody knows, oh, I know who that did that. Which I guess is a good thing, right? I think that's called style in some way. So this was submitted by CB, although everybody in the group probably knows who this is. And they said that they saw a similar image on Instagram and they wanted to create their own version in a humorous scene. And it's kind of cool because you can look at this. If you look there at the book he's got in his hand, it's like, where's Wally now, kind of a thing. So obviously juxtaposition of two characters which don't go together, which is something that I really love. So anyway, very cool. Nice picture. But here's the one I love the most. All right, this is the one that really stood out to me. Okay, and in this one, they said they want to create a sense of danger and secrecy. Totally nailed that. Definitely, if you know anything about these characters. But here's the other thing that really works. This is very similar to the image I was telling you about, but totally different, of course, in the way it's shot with the picture that was done by HK. And it's the same thing. Depth. Look at how this picture is composed. Okay? You've on the left, you've got a dark area. All right? And you've got the character. Got a white surface. Then you have a light area. Okay? Right behind them. Then to the right, you have another dark area and a light character against that dark area. And that really is what makes this work. It gives the image so much depth and character. Not only is the storytelling excellent that he's talking about here, but the depth in the picture, it really looks realistic, and it looks like it could be in that scenario, but it also gives you something to look at. You see beyond just this one character and this one image in the front. You go beyond that, you start looking at the depth, and that's created, of course, by the shallow depth of field, and also by the use of values. The lightness, the light character, stormtrooper against the darker background really works. And of course, the dark foreground over here works as well. If that would have been, in my opinion, if the surface on the left, the dark surface on the left would have been light, it really wouldn't have worked as well. And the reason is because then your eye would have been drawn to that first, but you're not. It frames it. It looks like it frames the image there and gives you something to in context. So just CB, excellent job on this one. Your work is just continuing to get better and better, and I applaud you. So nice job on this one. So, okay, let's see what else we got. I think that is all of the reviews we have. Oh, that's all the reviews we have, but that's not all we have tonight. So you guys know that on the first Tuesday of the month, we do photo reviews. But I also try and spotlight a fellow photographer. And I look for, I've never really talked about this too much, but let me tell you, I tend to look for people. It's not about how long you've been shooting. It's not about your equipment. It's not even about, in a way, how great your photography is. I mean, everybody expects your photography to be at a certain level, right? But it's about your creativity. That's what impresses me. That's what I love to see, and one of the criteria that I look for when I select someone that's a photo mentor member of the month, artist of the month. And so I'm always looking for that. And so far, we've had some amazing people, and you guys are just fantastic. I got to tell you, I love you all. I mean that you really you're so nice. You're so complimentary and say nice things about what we're doing here. But beyond that, I just love you guys because I love to see the excitement, the creativity, and your improvement more than anything. I watch what's going on, and in such a short time, I can see you guys just taking off. And that's all you, by the way. That's all you. All I'm is a catalyst for that. But I get so excited when I see you guys doing it. So thank you very much for that, and for being a part of this, and for contributing. So anyway, so this month we have another photo mentor of the month, and it would be somebody that looks like this. June's Artist of the Month is someone who became a supporter not long after my efforts began with Photo Mentor. Like many of you, I met her via Facebook on one of the dozens of beginner sites. I first started working with her over 2 years ago in March of 2020, and I try to touch base every few months and check in on her and her photography. Even though she did not have much experience at the time, I could see she was talented. I saw that spark, that passion, that connection on the right side of the brain where the emotion of her work comes from. The more she produced, the more obviously it became that she was very much in touch with her surroundings, her passion, and her life. I was so impressed with her photos she was producing, but when I found out the camera and the lens was a basic entry-level camera kit, I knew she had what it takes to be an amazing artist. I'm so excited to announce Claudia Elena Bucure as the Photo Mentor Artist of the Month. This is a special treat for me because Claudia has not posted in the group for at least a year, maybe 2. But my encouragement, you recently saw her return and start sharing some of her amazing images. I knew everyone would benefit from seeing more of her work and getting to know her. She indeed has a heart of an artist. Claudia, thank you for being part of the Photo Mentor community. Welcome back. We missed you. As recipient for the Artist of the Month, in an effort to encourage her to continue her creative journey, she'll receive a one-on-one mentoring session on any topic of her choosing, as well as a $100 gift certificate. Now, Claudia, because you're our first recipient in Bucharest, Romania, I'll need your help to get this to you. But thanks again for being part of our growing community. Okay, so that is Claudia. Claudia is a wonderful woman. Somebody, like I said, I met when I kind of first started, and I've kind of kept in touch with her, and it's really nice to see her rejoin. I reached out a couple of months ago, maybe a month ago, and I talk to her every once in a while just to see how she's doing. And I said, we really miss you in the group, that because I think that your work is fantastic, and I think others would benefit from it. So I think a lot of times we miss the point. It's not about us. It's not like, oh, my work's not good enough or whatever. By showing off your work to others, it inspires them. And that's what I hope to have more of. And so I think that is what I didn't tell you is I think she's still using a Nikon D5500 or 5300 maybe. It's, a pretty basic camera. It's, I think, one level above the entry-level D3400. And most of her images were shot with, I think it's a 55 to 300 or 70 to 300 kit lens, which, and she was doing this macro work, which is, I don't know how you do macro work with that lens, because it's not a macro lens, but it's just, it's probably about $150, maybe new it's $150. It's included with a lot of kits for $100 more. So it's not much of a lens, but the work was stunning. I just was like, well, you're using what? Now, not long after that, I think she upgraded to a Sigma 105 macro, which certainly improved the sharpness of her work, but it's not that wasn't it. It was her creativity. And I know you guys haven't even seen all the stuff she's done. Some of the stuff you saw in this video I did was the stuff that looked like spheres. Those are oil bubbles or soap bubbles. So I was like, wow! She's very, very creative, and I just think the world of her. So I'm so glad she's back. So when you guys see Claudia, now she won't see this because she's generally a different time zone. I forgot what the difference in time is from Romania, but we try and talk once in a while. And so when you guys see her, congratulate her. I'll certainly let her know that she's been selected. So anyway, I guess that's it. Thanks you guys very much. Hey, it's been great. I really, really appreciate it. And if you have any comments or questions, again, I would encourage you to, it'd be great if you would subscribe to the channel, to the YouTube channel. Always love to have more people. Always lets us know we're doing the right thing. And of course, I would encourage you to check out our newsletter that Sue Ann is doing. You should have gotten an issue, in fact, tonight, about 5 or 6 o'clock or so. It went out a couple hours ago. And this one is one that was on one of our winners, the fact for April, Crystal Rivera. And Crystal's just another amazing person, by the way. You guys are just so damn good. What am I you're embarrassing me here. You're just getting so impressive. Anyway, so the newsletter was on Crystal. So if you guys hopefully saw that and read it, it's a really good article she did. So I encourage you to check that out. And again, join the Facebook group, if you will, if you're interested in. Just go to Photo Mentor Academy /Facebook. And I think actually right now it's set up so that if you just go to Photo Mentor Academy, it goes immediately to the join Facebook page. So you don't even have to put that. But normally you just put /Facebook. And encourage you to join there if you're interested in, because the Facebook group is not like most Facebook groups. I think most of the people here would agree with that. And I try very hard to spend as much one-on-one time with you guys as I can. Yes, I am. Thank you. So, did I forget to turn on my audio when I was talking about the challenge? I apologize if I did that, guys. Hey, if you're still there, did I do that, Sue Ann? So the challenge, Photo Mentor Academy. Okay, go to the Facebook group. We'll tell you all about it right there. So hashtag Photo Mentor, hashtag Leading Lines. We're going to be doing that in the Photo Mentor Facebook group. So see ya next week.